I'm gonna give it a few because I want people to join. I didn't even give it a chance for people in the group to join, so let's give it a few minutes so people can get in. Usually my live streams, as you know, are only for people in the group. I just figured I would do a public live stream real quick because well, I do live streams with premium VIP group members only, primarily because I do educational stuff, which is only for premium, where I work, and teach and stuff. Also, a lot of the time we're trading altcoins, where if I do public streams and I have a ton of viewers from Twitter are seeing our analyses and they see that I have like a really good analysis that looks really bullish, then all of a sudden they jump in. They could end up pumping the price before people in the group get a chance to get in, which obviously we don't want to do that, right? So I'm going to keep doing my live streams just for premium members of the group, obviously. But right now, just a quick public one, just because I wanted to go over Ethereum. It's not like people from Twitter are going to join a live stream where I talk about Ethereum and they're going to start buying it and then pump the price before me and the guys in the group can get in. You're not pumping Ethereum, obviously. So give it a couple more minutes for more people to join. Like I said, I don't have a lot of time. The baby's going to wake up soon, so I'm going to do a quick stream. If I can, no promises tonight. Definitely tomorrow I'll do one. If no promises tonight, I may do a live stream just for the premium group where we can go over a bunch of other stuff. Because there are a lot of altcoins that are about to bounce right now. I just said to you guys, it looks like we're getting down. We're going to see bounces on pretty much everything. For those who didn't see, I shared... Well, I guess people on Twitter will get a little bit extra info that they would normally get because I did not share my vet trade, which is already... I didn't share this on Twitter, I don't think, did I? I'm pretty sure I didn't. This is only in the group. Right on the 222 EMA, we got the nice entry, already up 2.8%. Plenty of room to rise here. We dropped out of the next time frame. Yeah, we can push up a little bit higher, at least to the EMAs. By the time we get up there, I can move my stop loss up to my entry. Boom, risk-free trade. That's that. And then hot. I've been tracking hot. Now, hot hasn't really broken out from here yet. It's sitting like right on that level where I just got a feeling it could fail. I may get stopped out and take a small loss on this trade, but there's a decent chance. There's a really good chance this is going to bounce. Like I said, I didn't share my entire chart and the video that I did. I posted a video in the group, in the private group, but on Twitter, I still said just check out hot, just keep an eye on it. I'm pretty sure I didn't share any charts or anything publicly. But yeah, this is looking really bullish. Look at the hourly. We have all those supports. Now, originally, for those who aren't in the group, for people who made their way here from Twitter, again, because it's a public stream, which I don't usually do, for people who came over from Twitter, you didn't get to see my analysis. So here, I'll just explain to you really quick what I showed the group. I did a video for the group where I explained how when you were looking at the 4 hour, you can see there's a nice, strong horizontal support and resistance right here, right? We were sitting above it, but now all these candles kept getting rejected right at this level. Let me just draw a line so you can see it. And then we'll get into Ethereum in 2 seconds. So right around there, we have a nice, strong horizontal resistance we could break above. Then we pushed up and blew past it. Then it looked like we came right back down to that support. I did a whole live stream with the group where I talked about, I kind of taught them how I use different time frames, and this is one way that I do. Based on that one candle, you couldn't tell what was going on. But now when you go down to the hourly, you can actually see. You get that big candle, and the next several candles were sitting right on that support as well. So we're still in the range of that support, right? I read that too fast. I'll have to read that comment again after. But we have a bunch of support here, right? We have a reset on the hourly. So the last time the hourly Stoke reset over here, it was all over the place. It was very inaccurate. A lot of those zigzags. You know when I talk about my Stoke model getting zigzaggy? That's all this was. It was not very accurate. Right now, we're starting to get into a cycle. Stoke bottomed out and ran up as the price bottomed out and ran up. And now we get the nice reset on the Stoke. Reset on the Stoke was much smaller than the move up on the Stoke. We're bottomed out again, getting to that oversold range. There's a really good chance we're going to bounce right here, right in this support range. Plus, I have the Ichima dynamic support from the cloud, as well as the 55.99 and 222 EMAs. So this is a really good trade. I'm risking up to 3% on this trade, so I can't call it a low-risk trade, but it's a high probability trade. It's just I'm considering it medium to medium high risk because I'm risking up to 3%, but I really, really like hot here. I think there's a really good chance, especially after how hard it tried to push up on those buys. I think if enough money flows in really quick, we can see a really solid pump on hot. So that's that. And then obviously vet, like I just showed you guys. I didn't share this outside of the group. I didn't post this on Twitter or anything. This is just for the group, but we're already up a few percent. This was an old resistance. I don't think it's going to give us too much of a fight here. There's a pretty good chance we could push up higher. Like I said, we should be up about 3% now, a little over. Yeah, just about 3%. So we're up just about 3% now. If you are really risk averse, if you got into this trade when I shared it in the private group for guys who are in the premium group, if you got into this trade when I shared it, and you are risk averse and you're not willing to take a lot of risk, just go ahead and move your stop loss right up to your entry. It'll be a risk-free trade. The entire trade can fail. The entire thing can dump down to zero, and you will not lose any money. If you can make it risk-free, then you can just let it ride and see what happens. Now, I'm pretty confident it's going to go quite a bit higher, but there's always a chance you're going to get a quick wick down right over here, right where I entered, and then you'll get stopped out. I'm going to leave my stop loss a little bit lower. I may move it up a little bit to reduce my risk. Right now, my stop loss is 2.4% below my entry. I may move it up so it's only about 1% below my entry. That way I still have some protection, but I think it's going to push quite a bit higher here. I'm pretty confident about a bullish reversal here on vet, especially given the 4-hour turning up so aggressively on the Stoke. We're also riding along the bottom of the cloud, which was a resistance. Once we get up here, it's horizontal. It gets a little tough. But right now, we can ride up just along this trend as the cloud's trending up. Then if we break into the cloud, then we're really bullish. So I want to come back and take a look at that, especially if I can do a live stream with the premium group later, after we do this, after I get the baby fed and everything. So I wanted to talk about Ethereum primarily. I don't want to go into too much of the stuff that we do in the Influx trading group because, again, I don't share that stuff on Twitter. I like to keep that just for you guys who actually pay and support me for it. But let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, which I'm going to give you a little secret. I already started buying it. So I'm really bullish. I'm going to explain why. I haven't even made a chart for you yet, but I'm going to show you exactly why. Looking at this chart, everybody in the stream who didn't come from Twitter, who is in the group, already knows what I love about this. A couple people in the group even said, guys, everybody check out Ethereum. Jesse, check out Ethereum, which I'm doing right now. When they said that to me, I was already in the process of buying it. Now let me show you why I'm so bullish on a bounce on Ethereum right now. We have the 99 EMA like a boss, right? So that's one of my main Ichima dynamic supports. If you made your way here from Twitter and you're not part of my group and you're relatively new to my systems, then check out my YouTube channel. Like I said in one of the videos I posted recently, check out my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of videos on Ichima. It's a really simple model that I use where I came up with 3 different EMAs and the top and the bottom of the cloud. I use them in a bunch of interesting ways combined with my stochastic model. So just these very simple models that I've come up with that I use together give me a lot of valuable information, and that's what allows me to predict those surgically precise entries, those really nice big breakouts, huge breakouts sometimes, but at least low-risk entries. When I can get into those surgical plays where I buy in right at the bottom, that's always great. So there's a few things I'm seeing right here. Again, people who have been trading with me for a long time know exactly what I'm looking for. We have the 99 EMA, one of my Ichima dynamic supports, providing killer support right here. We have the top of the cloud, providing killer support right now. We also have the top of the cloud, which is in an on-ramp formation, creating a trend line up. Now, when that happens, that creates a really bullish trend line. If you follow a linear fit model, we essentially have a trend line like this. Once we get up in this area, we could theoretically come down and retest the top. But at the very least, we should push up quite a bit more. And once we get above the 55 EMA here, that'll be a strong support. Look how strong that support was on that big dump candle. It held right at the 55. One of my key Ichima dynamic supports is the 55 EMA. And again, you can see why right here. This entire sequence bounced off the 55 before that big launch. I'm kind of curious. The bottom of this correction here, we had this nice ABC. So you can see we had a nice ABC correction. We got the zigzag down. I'm curious on this move up if this should be. So if I do a fib retracement from here to here, this is going to be right around the 786. I bet my kids on it. From the bottom to here, if I do the fib retracement from the bottom of this run all the way to the top of the run, that's going to be not quite the 50, probably the 618. Let's take a look. Let's do a couple fib retracements. I just want to see if we have that for additional confluence. Okay, so yeah, right. It's almost to the 618 with that wick, but mostly it is at that 0.5, right at that 50%. Now let's do a fib retracement from here to here, and we should get a 786. See, like I said, 786. Exactly on point. Exactly what I said. This just brings up a really interesting point. I've been saying this to people who have been in my educational group for a while. But sometimes I'll do that where I'll just look at this without having any of these fib retracements drawn, and I'll say, oh, look, we came back down to the 786. Once you do this stuff, if you guys are newer to trading and you're newer to technical analysis, if you look at these charts enough and you do that enough, eventually you're going to look at this chart and you're going to know that that was a 786 retracement without even doing a fib retracement, without even using the tool in TradingView to see what that exact 786 was. Just looking at it with the naked eye, I could tell it's almost identical to where it was going to end up being, and I was spot on. So with practice comes, perfection, and just keep practicing and keep looking at more charts. Look at thousands and thousands of charts, and you'll be able to do this shit with your eyes closed. So we have some additional confluence here. This is another bullish sign. So let's count that. We have the 99 EMA right here, the top of the cloud, which is giving us an aggressive upward trajectory. We have the 50% Fibonacci retracement on the main pump. We have a 786 Fibonacci retracement on the short-term pump and a correction from that. It looks like this ABC zigzag correction is done, and this is the local bottom. Now, what additionally makes me feel that is the case, what confirms after all that support confluence, is the Stoke turning up. We're getting a nice reversal on the Stoke right here. After a full reset, we got down to oversold territory, and now the 4-hour stochastic oscillator is turning up. I think there's a really good chance we'll continue upward along this trajectory. So I already bought in. Let's just set a long tool so you can visualize the trade and where to place your stop loss. So if you were to buy in here, I'm not going to bother setting a target. A lot of the time I don't care. Sometimes I do. A lot of the time I just drag it up there and set it somewhere out there, and then I adjust it later because it's not important right now. But if we buy kind of right in this region right here, if I were to place my stop loss, let's see, I would say my SL should be about 1.5% below my entry. That'll allow me to keep it low risk, right? 1.5, which is fairly low risk. And I have a lot of protection for that stop loss. I have that 50% fib retracement, I have that 99 EMA, and I have the top of the cloud. So is it theoretically possible it could dump down and stop me out? Yes. If I was willing to take a little bit more risk on this trade, I'd probably put my stop loss about 2%, maybe 2.3% below my entry. But I'm fine with going with, maybe I'll do a happy medium. Maybe I'll set my stop loss about 1.75%. Let me do that really quick, just in case it dumps while I'm making this video. Just give me 1 second. Let me just do it on my phone. So I'm going to set my stop loss right around there. It's going to be, oh man, that's it right at 600. I don't want to put it right on an even number. That's bad luck. Shit. That's killing me. Although that wasn't my exact entry. My exact entry was a little bit lower. Closer to there, which means I can do that. 599, slightly 599.40 or so. But if you were entering closer to the current price right here, you have to do what's best for you. Everybody has their own risk tolerance. You can't blindly copy my trades because we're all different traders. We have different strategies, different goals. I'm trading to trade for a living, and you might be trading to make some, extra spending money to get some good weed or shitty weed in some cases. In which case I feel bad for you, and I'll send you some nice nugs if you send me your address. Or you might be trading just to save up for your retirement or something, right? We all have different goals in the end. We all have different risk tolerance, right? Like I can afford to lose a little bit here and there because I get into some really big profitable trades with 40 or 50% breakouts. If you've been struggling and you've been losing and you're trying to settle down and start getting on a winning streak again, you might not want to have the same risk tolerance as me, because if you keep taking losses like that, you could hurt. So it's a personal decision. You have to decide where to place your stop loss. It's nice to go below 600 just in case it dips. 600 would be a strong support, but It's not the end of the world to place your stop loss just over, so it's right there, about 1.75% below your entry. And if you're really risk averse and you want to take a chance on this really bullish trajectory it's taking, you can even set your stop loss just below that 50% fib retracement and only risk like 1.3%. I'm not going to do that because I want to give myself a little bit extra leeway in case it dips. I don't want one of these little wicks to come down and stop me out. So this is my final trade. Even though I entered a little lower than here, I'm just going to share this with the group. It's just, it's easier since you guys don't have a chance to get in when I got in because I bought in sooner. This will give you a chance to get in with a trade that I would myself take, even though I would set my SL just slightly lower. So that's it. That's what I'm pretty bullish there. And I also want to take a look at some other time frames really quick. But so far, does everybody understand what I'm looking at on ETH here? Does anybody have any questions? Just use the YouTube chat because if you guys are in the group, I don't have Discord open right now, so use the YouTube chat. Now, I will say, overall, it's really hard to say because we have been hyper bullish and the TA has been thrown a little bit out of whack, right? But if we weren't so hyper bullish and such a FOMO run right now, if we were, 3 or 4 months ago, looking at what I'm seeing here, what I would predict is that we bounce here and come back up a nice amount, a decent amount, maybe close to the prior top, but we would ultimately probably have one more dip. Given that we're hyper bullish, how we've been trading of late, I would not be surprised if we continue up from here because I don't think this overall bull run is even close to done. So that's my game plan on Ethereum. Anybody have any questions? No? It's not looking like anybody has any questions. Well, at the very least, okay, so what Goodspeed in the chat was saying, and CoinHawk saying when ETH BTC looks good. So they're in the group, and they had mentioned that the ETC, the ETH BTC pairing looked good. Now, I have evolved on this, and I kind of change my view depending on what's going on with the market. When I can, I will trade against the USDT pairing because it's just simpler. It's just easier. Whatever money I make or whatever money I lose is what I'm losing in dollars, right? It's much easier to track my profits. Now, as a day trader who trades for a living, who uses some of that money to support his family, it's much easier to know, all right, I have some expenses coming up. I need to make some money. Let's get some aggressive trades going. Oh, I'm up about this much. I'm already up 17% on this trade. That's a pretty epic call. I'm just going to sell here. I made enough money because I'm up, 17% against USTD. If that was against BTC, it's a lot harder to calculate because then I have to think, well, what's happened with BTC? Where is BTC right now? BTC has gone up a little bit, and now I'm up against BTC, which means I'm up a little more than that. You know what I mean? Trading against USDT pairings is just much easier. It's also better for risk purposes. Right now, that's where it doesn't matter. Usually when I trade USDT pairings and I avoid the altcoins paired with BTC, it's for risk management. It's because if I'm in a trade with ETH BTC and BTC were to start pumping like crazy, I could get stopped out of that trade. Because if ETH is going up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%, really nice gain, but then BTC goes up 20%, well, since it's the ETH, Ethereum, and BTC chart, let me pull up the ETC BTC chart. So what you're looking here, right? Even though Ethereum has been going up, see how the price has been going down, right? The price has been dumping because Bitcoin is going up so much. Now, when I'm looking at the Ethereum and the USDT chart, the price for Ethereum has been going straight up. It's just not been going up as fast and as aggressively as Bitcoin. Bitcoin, I believe, is going to continue to outperform the other majors. It's just the biggest and baddest, and one of the key things to look at is throughout this entire bull run we've had over the last month or whatever, where we really got into this parabolic mode, BTC has been parabolic, and even when everything else corrects, BTC keeps running up. BTC hasn't stopped running up. We've had plenty of times where the altcoins came down and where Ethereum and the other majors came down, and BTC just runs straight up like a boss. You see this entire run up from 11th of December up to here until this latest dip right here. 11th of December to right here. Now check out Ethereum. From 11th of December to right here, we had a sideways correction here. We had an initial dip here, got back to a top, and now we're having the similar dump to what Bitcoin is having. If you look at any of the alts, they're all very similar. We had, well, some of them more the larger ones, especially with the alts. Here on the 11th, right, we had a run up, and then we had a dump. We also had a sideways correction here that Bitcoin never had. So we've been having these corrections on other assets that Bitcoin hasn't had, while Bitcoin's been going just continuously up. I'd be a little bit cautious about trading against Bitcoin for that reason. But, okay, CoinHawk just mentioned in the chat the next thing I was going to say. The times that you do want to trade against Bitcoin, right? In this case, ETH BTC instead of ETH USDT. When you do want to trade against Bitcoin is when you want to accumulate Bitcoin. When you're not trying to trade for a living and make money, to take out of the market, and you're trading because you want to build a portfolio with as much Bitcoin as possible. Then you want to trade against the BTC pairing, just like I said, right? The reason I like the USDT pairings is because I'm trying to make as much money as possible. I want as many dollars as I could possibly make. Well, if you're trying to accumulate Bitcoin, then it's a good thing to trade against Bitcoin because you're trying to accumulate as many Bitcoins as you can make, right? So in that context, when you get into a setup like this, where the price of Ethereum is spiking up, and Bitcoin's either going down or sideways, you're going to get this huge breakout. You're making a ton of Bitcoin in that case. So then it could be good. I'm cautious right now. We're down at this lower support range, which does look good. I'm not going to lie. I do kind of like that. However, I'm still cautiously optimistic about it because we are so hyper bullish on Bitcoin. So what the guys who have been asking me about this have been seeing, most likely, I didn't ask them specifically, but I know somebody showed me a chart in the group chat. We're back down to this support range. So we had, this was a really strong support, came back down, still a little bit lower, but mostly this strong support range. And now we're all the way back down to that support range. Well, it could mean a few things. It's a triple bottom. It could mean we get a big pump from here, or it could fail and we could dump even lower if Bitcoin outperforms Ethereum. So right now, essentially what you're talking about is betting that Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin. I would be very cautious about taking that bet. Given how Bitcoin has performed lately, I would be very, very cautious about betting against Bitcoin on any of these cases. Otherwise, I would say, yeah. Normally, if it wasn't what we've been seeing recently the last several weeks, again, a couple months ago, if I saw this chart, I would say, look at the support it's on. Holy shit, it looks like Ethereum's about to bounce while Bitcoin takes a little breather. That's probably what I would have said, just like you're seeing right now. But remember, I keep telling you guys, I could be wrong about this. Bitcoin could tank and Ethereum could pump right now, and maybe I'll miss out. But Bitcoin has been so hyper bullish and so driven by FOMO, I cannot justify saying, guys, you should probably bet against Bitcoin. I think that's fucking nuts. It could break out. We could see this pump up like crazy. We could see Bitcoin go down 10% while Ethereum goes up 10%. And the next thing you know, this is a moonshot and you just missed out on making like 3 more Bitcoin. It is possible that that's going to happen. Don't be mad at me if it does. I just personally wouldn't take that risk. I think it's way too risky with the way we've seen Bitcoin performing lately. Right? When you see something, it's like when you're friends with that guy who goes to the bar every night and just like picks up the hottest chicks and you end up taking home a slam pig. If all of a sudden after that happens, the entire time you've known him and you go to a bar, like you wouldn't expect him to just say like, hey dude, you take the hot one, I'll grab the slam pig. No, you would expect that he's going to get the hot chick and you're going to take home the busted ass slam pig. That's just how it works, right? So we've been seeing Bitcoin go on an epic run, destroying everything else in the market. Even when everything else is correcting, Bitcoin is going straight up. So it would be crazy right now to take that bet. I could be wrong, but I want to stand back on that. I'm going to stick to the USDT pairing, and if Bitcoin keeps going up, that's good for me because I've been buying Bitcoin. I keep telling you guys, just buy Bitcoin. You can't lose right now buying Bitcoin as long as, well, you're buying it, it's at a high, but I don't think this bull run is over. So as long as you have a stop loss and you move that stop loss up, every time it makes another push up, you can set your stop loss a little bit higher. And that way, when we finally get to that point where Bitcoin takes a huge dump, you're protected and your stop loss will make sure you don't take a huge loss. All right, so a couple questions in the chat real quick. ZIL USD chart. I gotta go in like a second, dude. I gotta go, but I'll if you're I don't know whose names on YouTube. I know people's usernames in the group, so I'm not sure if you're in the group or not. But he wanted me to look at ZIL USD. I can't do that right now. I only have like 2 minutes and then I gotta go. So I'm gonna answer a couple more questions. But if you are in Flux Trading Group, in the premium group, I'll try my best to do another live stream before I go to sleep. Or before we call it a night in like an hour or so. I can't promise you though. It depends if the baby's fussy. I have her tonight. But the other question was something about a 3 to 9 month bear market. This cancel the majority of the alt season. No, so I never said when that's going to happen. I keep saying it looks like it's getting close and the market keeps going higher, but I've never committed. I've never said like, oh, we're about to dump. I'm just saying that based on the trends, if you look at them monthly on Bitcoin specifically, we are essentially in 2017 bull run mode right now, and we are approaching 2018 bear market mode. Like we're getting there. So we had 2017, huge run up, right? Big dump down to the lowest of lows at 3,200. Then the bull run to 14K, right? Then we came back down with Corona all the way back down to 3,600. Every time that happened, follow the Stoke. The monthly Stoke has never been wrong, right? Stoke up to the top of the price right here. Bottom, bottom, up to the top. It's all in this oversold, overbought range. It could zigzag around and hang up here for a while. I have no idea how long it will. Eventually, it's going to fall, and when it does, we are going to get one of these major corrections. This correction here was 82.5%. This correction here was 71.8%. We are going to get that correction. I don't know when it's going to happen, and I don't know how big it'll be. All I'm doing is warning you guys not to say, hey, when I say there's going to be a 6-month correction, short with me. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying overall, it's going to happen in the pretty near future, probably within the next several months, I would bet, at the very latest. But it could keep running higher even longer than that. I could be wrong. But once it does stop running up, you need to make sure you have stop losses in place because it is absolutely coming. At this point, I thought it would be here a lot sooner. I thought right around where we are now is probably a good time to get that long-term extended correction. But since we reached new time highs, that kind of blew that away. And now I'm thinking we're just going to drive on FOMO for a while. And it's going to be a little bit longer before we get to that level. All right, Hawkhead. Last question, and then I'm going to go feed the baby. Are you assessing the market? I don't think we ever talked about that. No, we could take a quick look at it, though, so you could show me. I should have BTCD in here somewhere. You mean in the futures? That's BTCD, right? That's what you mean? Or are you referring to something else? It looks. I know BTC.D. I don't know if that's showing the CME. That's the futures, right? I can't remember what that stands for. Oh yeah, dominance. Sweet. I don't think I have a chart. I think I have all altcoin dominance. Let me see. How do I have it in TradingView? I've done this before. This is just straight up BTC.D. No. I definitely have Bitcoin dominance in here. Maybe it's in my other, one of my other watch lists. Help me find it, buddy. There we go. It's not showing up. Yeah, it doesn't show up there. Ha! Fucker. There we go. Yeah, that is in my other watch list. I got it. I read it. What time frame are we looking at? Not really even. Wait, are you talking about what rising wedge? I don't even see it. BTC dominance. Yeah, same one. There is no rising wedge to be found. I mean, unless you look at like, you're looking at like really short term, because there's a rising wedge. This is what I meant, but you can kind of see it with the naked eye. It just stands out to you. Is that what you meant? Oh, we were talking about my long-term correction analysis. So if you were talking about potentially BTC having a short-term correction here, then I guess that could be viable. Is that what you were talking about? Yeah, okay, so that's what it was. All right, now we're on the same page. I mean, it's not that pronounced. I'm not that hung up on it as a rising wedge here. I don't feel like that would be that particularly that bearish. Huh. I could look at that with some other things. I need more than that. I need something else to make me feel like BTC is going to bleed off more. We're outside. We're extra technical at this point. We're beyond most of the TA, right? So we're at this point we're seeing BTC FOMO pump after 75% of the bearish indicators I've seen where I would have said, oh, it looks like we're going to come down. It just keeps going up. So that's why I'm hesitant to buy into it. Normally, you know, I love rising wedges and falling wedges. I think wedge formations are excellent for identifying reversals. It's just not that big. It hasn't been running that long. You can probably see it on the hourly too. Let's see how it looks on the hourly. Doesn't look as good on the hourly because you're not getting as many points of contact. It's a lot tighter. And we're actually getting a little bit higher than there anyway right now. Just dip down for a sec. I'll look at it more. I'll think about it more. I would need to come up with not just that. I need to come up with a lot more to justify calling a BTC correction now while the rest of the market goes up. But for those who don't understand what we're seeing here, if BTC dominance does drop, that means the altcoins can utterly explode while BTC bleeds off. And that could be huge. That's why I'm sticking mostly to the alts now anyway. My BTC trading is long-term trading. For BTC, I'm not getting in and out of BTC at all. Before I let you guys go, let's just quickly just double check where we stand with a couple trades that I showed you. Where I have VET, which is still looking nice. Still looking like it's got some room to go. I'd really like to push above this old resistance though. And hot still is not doing anything big. Waiting on that, but it's getting really low. It's getting pretty close. I think we're going to see a bounce on hot pretty soon. Oh, that actually is coming. That correction was a nice little falling wedge too. See that? Again, naked eye, right? So we're moving sideways off support. Now, when you have a falling wedge like that, that's usually really bullish where you can get a breakout. It doesn't mean you hit the apex of the falling wedge and you explode right up. Sometimes what happens is you get to the bottom of that falling wedge, then you ride along support before a push up. Again, not a guarantee, but a pretty high confidence trade on here. I'm going to keep watching this thing, but I have a pretty high level of confidence this thing's going to bounce, and if it doesn't, you know, I'm willing to take the loss. It's not a huge amount of money. Obviously, considering the fact that I made 40, 50, 60%, 70% on some of the trades I've had the last couple days, I can afford to lose 1 or 2 or 3% a few spots here and there. That's why we all have different risk tolerance. I always tell you guys that, you know, I can afford to take a risk right now when you can't. Maybe you don't take the trade. We always talk about that stuff, right? All right, let me see if there are any other questions in the comments before I let you guys go. Got to go warm up a bottle for the baby girl, and then once I get her back down, if it's not too late, I will do a live stream with the premium group. Well, yeah, so with the FOMO run, exactly, can't tell. Also with, you don't necessarily need, see, it was like, this is what AJ said, right? So, would it be time to get into alts soon or wait for a possible BTC dump that wipes alts out as well? Now, this is what's interesting here. This is what we were just talking about, me and the other guys, the guys from the group. We were looking at BTC dominance because if that comes down, what that essentially means, right, is there's going to be a lot of the market cap is going to shift from BTC to the alts. When that happens, you don't get one of those BTC comes down and all the alts come down with it. When that happens, a lot of the time, you'll get BTC comes down and the alts go on a big run. So it's still worth getting into alts. And with my trading style, it doesn't really matter because if you can get into alts now that go up just a little bit so you can move up your stop loss and get to a risk-free position, or you can move up your stop loss so your risk is pretty minimal, then it doesn't matter if the whole market tanks, right? Because you're protected. You're not going to take a loss because you have a nice tight stop loss in place. But a lot of these alts are in a position to move pretty soon, I think. I'm going to take a look at a bunch of the rest of these. All right, well, it's my group. Fluctuate. It's my group, and people were like pissed that Vamp hasn't been active, and his lifetime members were pissed. He has stuff going on. I'm sure he'll be back, but it's my group. I have other analysts that come and go. So if you join the group, you're joining for me, pretty much. I'm the draw, and then I had Vamp for a while. Hopefully he comes back because he was contributing for a while. He hasn't been lately. The Cryptomist is still really active contributing. I know a guy who's a really good Forex trader, so I'm going to open a Forex section where he's going to share all of his Forex signals, and he'll teach some of his strategies and everything. And then I might bring in another analyst in the near future too, but it's not like a team effort. It's my group, my house. I just have help sometimes, and I have other analysts to contribute. But I'm always here. When the baby was born, I wasn't on and I wasn't as active, and a lot of the guys in the group were pissed. Most of them were understanding, but now I'm really back. The last week or so, I'm sure they would all tell you, I've been back like a maniac. So I'm there 24/7. If you're in chat and you say something, I'm pretty much always there ready to chat. And I'm doing a bunch of videos all day, updates, and sharing all of my trades. So I'm certainly as active as I used to be, which is good. It feels good to be back. It took a while after the baby was born, but everything's going well now. So if you want to join back up, I'd love to have you. All right. Anybody else have any questions for me? I got to go, but feel free to DM me if you are not in the group. If you are in the group, hit me up in chat, and we'll talk later. And then for those of the guys in Flux Trading Group who are premium at least, we can do a live stream later if there's time. Then we go take care of the little mini Jew, and we'll see where we stand. All right? Thanks for stopping by, guys. Oh, and lastly, anybody who follows me on YouTube from before who doesn't know where I went on Twitter, my new handle is @DarthCryptoTFC. I just did a short little video about it a couple hours ago. Thanks.